Hello everyone, welcome to ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you a game played between Alireza Firouzja and Magnus Carlsen, and this was played in 8th round of the Blitz section from the Croatia Rapid Blitz, day number 4. So before we begin this video, if you're watching this channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So here Alireza was handling the white pieces and Magnus was handling the black pieces, and it would be better if we look at this game from black's perspective. So I am looking this game from the Carlsen's perspective. So here Alireza simply opens the game with the d4 and Magnus goes d5, and after c4 the queen's gambit, Magnus defends with the Slav defense, and after knight f3, knight f6, we have knight c3, and after this move he plays the move e6, and it denotes that semi-Slav defense. And after this Alireza plays this aggressive move, that is bishop g5, and after bishop e7 unpinning the knight, he plays the move e3. So simply develops the bishop and then only he closes the pawn chain. It's an instructive moment, so we should also consider in our games also. So here after this move he plays knight b d7, the main move, and after this queen c2. Another instructive moment, where should I put my queen, or where should I develop my queen? I will tell, or I used to tell to my students like e2, d2, c2, and even sometimes b3 or a4 for white. So similarly for black also, you can develop it on e7, d7, c7, or b6, sometimes a5. So these are the squares. Whenever you are playing the queen's pawn opening, you can try to develop your queens on one of these squares. But most important, or the most critical square, is queen c2 or queen c7. So this would help in your game also. So after this Carlsen castles on the king side, and after this Firouzja plays the move rook d1. That's another point of playing queen c2. So what's the plan? Is bringing the rook to d1, and it x-rays the queen, and going forward in some variations you will see that this will help Alireza in a big way, because whenever someone puts the rook in front of your queen, that means it's x-rays your queen, right? And immediately you have to act upon it, and if you don't do it, you will land up in trouble, right? So let's see how it goes. So here another main move to consider is to even queenside castling is also a move for white, but he plays the move rook d1. It's an excellent principal move. So b6, trying to feint shadow or trying to go to a6, and after bishop e2 he goes bishop e7, castles, h6, questioning the bishop's post, and after bishop h4 Magnus plays rook to c8, doing the same. So similarly he x-rays Alireza's queen, which is sitting on c2, but Alireza immediately reacts for that, and he plays the move queen b1, so getting out of the danger. And after this move he plays d takes c4, bishop takes c4, and we have pawn to c5, trying to open the center. And this may not look good, because as I was mentioning, the rook is already x-raying our queen, right? But why did Magnus place this move? The idea is very simple. After d takes c5, he wants to capture back with the rook here. So he already lifted the rook, and that rook can go to a king side for some time to attack, and it's already gaining some time on bishop. So bishop goes to b5, and there is some tactical idea is here. This simple idea is bishop f6, and then the winning the other knight, right? So it's very simple. So he plays the move a6 anyway, because if you play bishop f6, I can play a takes b5, so counter attacking. That's what Magnus plays here. And after increasing the pressure like knight e5, we can simply trying to defend further with a bishop to c8. But interestingly, if we cannot take back with the knight, but if you consider this move, you can do it, because engine like this move. But after rook takes d8, we have knight f3 going back, and after b4 engine thinks that black is better, but as a human we don't want to be in this position, right, without the queen. Maybe after knight e2, bishop e4, queen a1. So this is what computer says, and white is slightly not white, black is slightly better. So going back in this position, Magnus plays bishop c8, defending further, and now Alireza Firouzja releases all the pressure in the game. So he plays the move bishop takes e7, and now he plays queen e7. Automatically he unpins the queen and plays queen takes e7. So in this position, Firouzja plays knight to d3 going back, and instead of that, the better move could have been this one. So knight takes d7. It's because of that the bishop wants to go to b7, but the bishop is now slightly misplaced. Another important thing I would like to highlight here before going further. So here the most important critical point is the b4 point, because if at all this b pawn has to undouble itself, right? So he has to push the pawn, and if you can stop that pawn or prevent that idea, that would be great, right? But Alireza at some point of time he will be missing that, and that's the turning point of the game actually. So let's continue the game here. After knight to d3, he plays the move rook g5, as I was mentioning. So he lifted the rook and he is bringing back, bringing to the king side for the attack. And now he plays the move a3, preparing to move the pawn to b4. That is idea, or stopping the b4 immediately. And here he plays the move knight c4. Sorry, knight c5. And in this position, after knight c5, Firouzja plays the move knight f4. It's just improving a position of a piece. That's visually it is okay, but the main move or the best move here is to play pawn to f4, attacking the rook, and after rook h5 we have pawn to b4, hitting the knight with the tempo, and after knight takes d3 you are actually forcing the knight to do something. And after this move, as you can see, we are already targeting the b5, and now black has to go defensive. And not only that, you see we already grabbed the d file, control over the d file, and as I mentioned earlier, that b4 also we played. So that's the plan. But here he played the move knight f4, that allows bishop b7, gaining a valuable tempo on g2. At some point of time there is a mating pattern, right? So he plays the move pawn f3 immediately, stops that idea, and he plays knight a4. So, and here he immediately attacks the c3 knight, and he plays knight ce2, avoiding the trade, and he plays the move rook c8, so grabbing the c file. And after this, Firouzja plays e4, but instead of that move, as I was mentioning, and this is the critical point, he should have played this move b4. This move is a multi-purpose move, as I was mentioning again and again. So one is to stop further advance of the b pawn, and you are telling that okay, this weakness is you are going to deal till the end. And another important thing, the rook cannot come to c5 and form this battery thing and infiltrate onto the second rank. So that's the another point. But after this move, how the game can continue? Maybe knight c3, forcing an exchange, and after knight takes c3, rook takes c3, we have pawn to e4, and the game would continue. And this is white is clearly better, and he could win the game in the later. But in the game, he played the move e4, and after this move, he plays pawn to b4, and so this allows Magnus to play b4 himself. And after this move, he plays the move rook to d4, allowing this tactical fork. So what's the point of allowing this move? If you play this move immediately, we have rook takes b4, your knight is hanging. So if you take my knight, I can take your knight, and white is better. So going back, and after this move, he plays the move rook b5, Magnus, and Firouzja plays queen d3, forming this battery thing, and still that fork is present in the position. So bishop to c6, defending the rook, and then he plays the move queen to d2. So instead of that move, again he had the chance to capture the pawn like this. So what's the idea? After this move, if you play e5, then we have rook c4, and if you take my knight, I can take your bishop. In the end, I can take your rook like this, and white is again better. So going back, he played the move queen to d2, so that allows Magnus to capture a3, and the most important thing is that that pawn is again protected. So if you capture back, then we have a problem, right? So another important thing, again you have the fork here in this position. Instead of capturing a3, if you fork again, let me show you this quick variation. Rook takes b4 can be played. After rook takes b4, a takes b4, we have e takes f4. and after b3 kicking the knight has no escape square to go to, and that's how white can win the piece back. So going back in this position, Magnus plays b takes a3, but here that allows Firouzja to take on a4, but it's already the game is lost for Alireza Firouzja, because after rook takes b2, that pawn is not that pawn is not recoverable by white now, and now we have the rook on second rank now. So queen c3, and after this move he plays the move b takes a4, and after queen takes c8 check, he even allows to capture the rook, considering these two pawns and especially the a3 pawn just two moves away from queening. And after king h7, queen c3, we have bishop to b5 pinning the knight to the rook, so immediately unpins rook e1, queen d6, e5 he plays, queen to d2, trying to exchange the queens so that we can pass the pawn and win the game. So queen takes d2, rook takes d2, after knight c3, bishop to c4, so helping or trying to help the pawn to go to a2. Already it is protected, but still, so rook to a1, a2, and after this move he plays knight fe2, giving back one piece here. So after bishop takes e2, rook takes a2, rook takes a2, knight takes a2, but in the end, as you can see, there is a one b pawn left. Okay, that's a passer, and nobody can stop him, because after bishop to c4 we are attacking the knight, and Alireza tries something here, knight b4, king g6, but after king f2, king f5, but black king is very faster. So he plays knight c6 defending the pawn, but after bishop d5 again the knight is kicked, right? So knight goes d8, and after king takes e5, and after knight takes f7, we don't care about these pawns because this pawn can run very quickly. So after knight takes f7 check, he plays the move king to d4, and now you see the king's position is very important. It is centralized. It's not only centralized, we are almost controlling all the squares which we need for the promotion, and that's why in this position Alireza Firouzja resigns the game. So after this game, these are the standings from the tournament. So Magnus leads the field with 18 points, and Wesley So, and then Jordan Van Fares, Jan Epomniachtchi, Alireza Firouzja, MBL, Lenin Dominguez, Shakrir Mamadera, Veselin Topo, Evan Saric. So these are the current standings after round number 9 of the Blitz section. So yeah, that's it for the day. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and in case if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel ChessVisor, please consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. As usual, this is ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess.